Is death the end? When people die, do they just cease to exist? Few questions strike as deeply as is death the end? To many, death appears as final cessation, the extinguishing of consciousness, the vanishing of self. Religions, philosophies, and mystical traditions across millennia have contested this view, offering visions of immortality, reincarnation, or absorption into a cosmic whole. Two modern frameworks, consciousism and temporal subjection theory, TST, invite us to rethink death altogether. Instead of tragedy or annihilation, they frame death as transition and expansion, a joyful event in the cosmic cycle. In this light, death is not the erasure of self but a moment of transformation to be celebrated. Consciousism holds that consciousness is fundamental, not derivative. Matter arises within consciousness, not vice versa. Each individual's awareness is a unique modulation of a universal conscious field. From this vantage, death is not an extinction but a return, the finite stream of selfhood dissolving into the infinite ocean of consciousness. Just as a wave falling back into the sea does not vanish but rejoins its source, so too death reunites personal experience with the Absolute. To celebrate death, then, is to recognize it as completion, a lifetime of perceptions, joys, and struggles returning their value to the collective consciousness. The death of one is not subtraction but contribution, the enrichment of the cosmic library with another chapter of lived meaning. TST begins with the radical claim, time is not linear. What we perceive as the passage of time is the mind's navigation across countless temporal dimensions, like flipping through the frames of a cosmic flipbook. Past, present, and future exist simultaneously. Our consciousness simply traverses them. Death, under this theory, is not a hard stop. It is a shift of perception, the end of navigation within one sequence of temporal dimensions and the opening of awareness to others. If life is the journey through a corridor of time slices, then death is the doorway into broader wholes. This dissolves the fear of non-existence. Consciousness does not terminate, it reorients. Death is akin to waking from one dream into another. The apparent loss is, in fact, liberation into greater temporal possibility. Bringing consciousism and TST together, death emerges as both ontological return and temporal liberation. Consciousism tells us, you do not vanish. You rejoin the ground of being itself. TST tells us, you do not stop. You shift into new dimensions of time. From this synthesis, death is no longer a void but a continuity of consciousness through transformation. The very finitude of individual life ensures its meaning. Each perspective contributes uniquely to the collective whole. Thus, death can be celebrated with joy because it completes a cycle, releases suffering, and affirms the unity of consciousness across dimensions. To grieve without joy is to misperceive death as erasure rather than metamorphosis. Celebrating death does not mean denying grief. It means transforming grief with perspective. Rituals of return, honoring the deceased as a wave returning to the sea of consciousness. Temporal expansion practices, meditation or contemplation that reminds us life is but one traversal through time, not the whole of being. Ethical living, recognizing that what we do in life contributes eternally to the fabric of consciousness, giving urgency and meaning to each choice. Communal celebration, reframing funerals as both mourning and thanksgiving, mourning the absence of presence, but thanksgiving for the gift of their contribution to collective reality. If death is seen only through the lens of material cessation, it is terror and despair. But through consciousism and temporal subjection theory, death is no end at all. It is a return, a reorientation, a joyful passage into the greater reality of consciousness and time. To celebrate death, then, is not to trivialize loss but to recognize a deeper continuity. The joy of celebrating death lies in knowing that no life is wasted, no consciousness extinguished, no moment lost, for all are gathered back into the infinite fabric from which they arose.